y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones and I am a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. And this is a little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing Abbott Elementary Season 2, Episode 1, Development Day. And we are sipping on apple juice and vodka, yes. So, took a little break for a couple weeks. I feel like the back-to-back of everything was making me tired. So, here I am today, alive and well. How are you all? And so, Abbott Elementary is back. It's supposed to have, I believe, 20-something episodes this season. So, I am very excited for the show. And we are diving right in with Season 2, Episode 1. We're right after Janine breaks up with they mutually break up with she ended with that nigga that had issues. And apparently Janine has this idea that she is going to come to school and she's going to start work after the summer, and work life is going to cleanse her of all the pain, and she doesn't have to do any real work to deal with that. And that is not the truth whatsoever. She spends this whole episode just saying, I'm fine, everything's fine, just to find out that she has a meltdown. Well, not a meltdown, just everything that she thought was fine, that she wasn't paying attention to, just kind of collapsed around her. So she's trying to be this happy, peppy, happy-go-lucky teacher. And she ends up with a boot on her car because her ex built up parking tickets on her car, and for some reason she thought that he had to pay those were his tickets. No, it's your car. The tickets are on your car, so somebody has to pay the tickets or in order to drive the car. She found that out the hard way. Then she what did she do? She got the mascot of the Eagles to come to the hockey team over in Philadelphia, to come to the first day of school for the kids, but she told them the wrong day, and then what else did she do? She is late by 3 months on her rent. I wish these white folks would let me be late. I wouldn't be late by 3 months though, by more than because I just don't want that money piling up, because that money piles up. They expect you to pay every penny of it back, and I do not have a lump sum of thousands of dollars to give to anybody. So, yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's a good thing that there is such a rigorous control around the rents to where I have this structure of having to pay it. I don't know. It makes sense to me. But she's 3 months behind on her rent. And it's Philadelphia. Who knows? They may just be, she may be lucked up and live somewhere it costs $800 a month. So I could see $800 a month, and you let that stack up until it's like $1,400. Then you just like, let me pay this, or $1,600. Let me pay this. I know, girl. And so anyways, she thought that she was going to be able to just ignore the pain inside and work through it. I feel like in this episode, it really illustrates another flaw when it comes to people pleasers, is that they don't know how to help themselves. And don't worry, I've been there, so I'm talking about myself as well. But I've healed from that shit. Now, people will sometimes mistake me for an asshole. No, I just have boundaries. If I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. It is what it is. But anyways, when you're a people pleaser, your life's blood, your life's goal is to make everyone else around you as happy as possible. And there's nothing else. It's a constant codependency to the world. And so you're not thinking about helping yourself or fixing yourself. So I think a part of her not paying her bills and taking care of herself was because she was sad, a breakup, blah, blah, blah. But to let it get to that extent where you are about to be evicted from your apartment, there's something deeper here than just a breakup. And so I think it's also a part of her not knowing how to help herself. She so it feels like to me, because she was paying 80% of the rent with this man was paying 20%. She could have made that up. She could have figured that out. And, I think she was paying the rent for him. She was paying the rent for him to stay there and live with her and be there with her. And, you know, a lot of this may just be subconscious and she's not aware of how much of a people pleaser she is, you know? And so I think that the main goal of paying her bills and keeping her life together financially was to take care of this man. And then as soon as she left, her main goal in life went away until school started. And then now she has a multitude of children to help. So you got to love yourself. The foundation of you is you. Are you just going to start ripping off pieces of yourself and giving it to everybody else? And you'll be nothing left. You'll be nothing left. And then those people are going to get tired of those pieces and they're going to throw them away because those pieces have no substance, because those pieces don't know who they are. And so, you know, people are entertained by people that, you know themselves. And so she doesn't know herself. You know, she knows that she likes to help and she likes to be there for people. That's a part of who she is. But like, what other goals and hobbies does she have outside of helping people? I don't know much about Janine's fun time. What does she do for fun? Who's her friends? I'm assuming we're going to get more of a backstory into these teachers' home lives, you know, as the season goes on. Just like, who are they? What makes them tick? Why do they I'm hoping we get to meet Janine's mom, because obviously her mom has issues. And so, yeah, I mean, I just felt like this whole episode was just to illustrate that she just got a lot of work to do. And towards the end, she recognized that at the very least, she needs to grieve. She needs to be sad. She needs to let this out. You know, I will repeat this to the day I die. Women cry after a breakup. We cry, we sit on the couch, we eat ice cream, we let it out. Because if you hold that shit in, it's going to come out in other ways. It's kind of like if you were to hold in your urine. This is gross, but I don't care. If you were to hold in your urine, your bladder's not just going to explode. You know, your body is trying to save your life. So what'll happen is your body will release the urethra muscles and you'll pee on yourself. You know, that's why when you get to a place where you really have to pee, it feels like you're going to pee on yourself. That's because your body's done. Like, and it's the same with emotions, because your body is made to expel things that we don't need anymore. Skin, hair, nails, waste, tears. Why wouldn't it be made to expel emotions? So if you don't let your emotions out in a controlled way, then they will force their way out. For example, and not paying your bills for 3 months, not checking on the tickets on your car, you know, not making sure that you scheduled the right day for this mascot that's supposed to come and, you know, entertain the children and stuff. It just comes because mental health issues bring on confusion and disorientation and preoccupation with sadness and all sorts of other junk. And so that's why it's important to make sure that you take care of your emotions by expelling them through grief. So when you lose anyone or anything that is important to you, you need to be sad and you need to let it out. Think of it just like going to the bathroom. That's how I feel. Like, it's like, this is my moment to release because I have built up emotions, and once I release, then I can move on with my life. But no, we teach little boys that crying is for weaklings. And, you know, it's gay to talk about your feelings or whatever they've made up for these men. And so they don't know how to do that release without feeling extremely uncomfortable. And that's why there's a lot of men in particular walking around with pent up emotions, and then they get emotional when they're triggered because they have so many pent up emotions, and it just explodes out of them. And that's why there's a lot of angry men that lash out. There's a lot of sad boy fuck boys that are only preoccupied with their sadness and how people can move into their life to help them with their sadness and stuff like that. So, you know, like those sad boy fuck boys that like every excuse for why they haven't pulled through for you is because they're depressed, or they just, you know, were feeling themselves that day and they couldn't do, and it just becomes a pattern. That's what I mean. It's like, okay, well, you need to go to therapy then, because obviously you don't need to be in a relationship because you're not able to give of yourself. And that's what's required in a relationship. Yes. And so there's women like this too, but we see it for the majority in men, and men rule the world. So there's a lot of men with pent up emotions that are ruling the world, and ruling the world through their emotions. And it's sad. And so that's why it's important to grieve when you lose someone. They say breaking up with someone is worse than someone dying, because if someone's dead, you just have to get past that. There's no picking up the phone and calling them. There's no looking them up on Instagram. No, but when someone's still alive and you've broken up with them, that is a practice in, determination to not look at those things. It takes a lot of loving yourself, and a lot of just kind of, what is that word? It's not determination. It's just, I forgot. I can't think of words, but it just takes a lot to just sit there and know that this person is on Instagram and you could just add them and talk to them. But instead you have to, sit there and act like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then cry about it because this person is so close yet so far, so you have to monitor yourself when you break up with somebody else. But when somebody dies, you just have to grieve that, get past it, and live your life, and things like that. So it's a lot to hurt like that. Like, you saw him, he got in the car with his friends and he was just laughing like everything was fine because he's a user and he didn't care about her like that. I don't care what nobody says, he does not care about her like that. He's a user. He is a parasite that siphons because he never learned how to take care of himself, because Janine's been taking care of him. His mama's been taking care of him since he was in high school or middle school or elementary school or whatever they got together. You know what I mean? So Janine's going to need a lot of therapy. And that's okay, because I feel like Gregory is willing to wait for she asked him about like who he's dating now and how him and Taylor is doing, and he just had this look on his face. I feel in my spirit that they didn't work out, but he lied about it. I feel in my spirit they didn't work out, but he lied about it. And once Janine gets to the healing place, she'll be ready to commandeer her husband, Gregory. Yes, I don't care. You will not take this from me. So anyways, we got Barbara over here, and congratulations on Cheryl Lee Ralph. I was gonna forget her name for a second, but she been trending, so I had to think real hard. Like, what's her name? Cheryl Lee Ralph for getting that Emmy, and Kenta Brunson for promising her child that she was gonna get her mama that Emmy, or her son. I think it was her son, because her son made a post saying that. Yeah, it was her son that made the post, promising her son that she was gonna get his mama that Emmy, and she got his mama that Emmy. Yes, God, because she has been around since the 70s doing shows, and I'm surprised she didn't get an Emmy for Moesha. I'm confused. No, I'm not. White supremacy, yes. But yes, so Barbara is, she used the money to get a wheelchair ramp because she's going to have a student that is is disabled and in a wheelchair. And I love to see how she was so excited about getting this student and so excited just to help him. Like, she really loves her job. It's just when shit goes wrong in the environment of her job, that's when, moods and emotions change and things like that. And had her questioning last season, is she's too old for this? Should she keep doing this and stuff like that? But it's also the beginning of the school year, so there is a little excitement around the beginning of the school year. So those feelings, those feelings might start to come back as the school year progresses and bullshit starts to happen with the school, the district, the kids, all the things. But for now, she's super happy to get this wheelchair ramp, and she has been fighting, calling the district over and over again to get this wheelchair desk, and they will not answer her calls and whatever. So that's kind of what she's doing during this episode. And at the end of the episode, Gregory finds a wheelchair desk in the basement of the school, and he asked Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Johnson gave him some bitch ass answer like, I ain't no fucking storage asshole. I love Mr. Johnson. He's hilarious. So Gregory gets her the desk, and she's happy and everything's wonderful. And then she helps Gregory. So we'll get to Gregory. I just want to do kind of like mix it up, do the characters that we didn't get as much background on and give them as much screen time. So what's her name? The white one. Oh my. So Melissa, she is the redheaded, Italian, woman. She was in Jersey for the summer, and I guess she grew up there because she said it reminds her of childhood, like all the accoutrements of the boardwalk. And she is upset because basically Ava has told her that because the charter school down the street took most of the third graders, they didn't have enough students for a second third grade class, so she was going to have to take in some second graders. And so she's going to have 10 more kids in her class, and her class is probably already full with 20 or something, and now she probably got 30, 35, 40, who knows. And so Ava being a bitch, she just like, are you okay? She was like, I'm fine, fuck you, bitch. And I was just like, oh shit, because I remember when I was working in the schools how that was like, even when I was in school, like that was the overfilled classrooms. I think there was like 40 students in most of my high school classes. And for if you have ADHD or you have anxiety or you have anything that makes you distracted easily, I don't know how kids could learn in that shit. I was hyper focused on getting the fuck out of the hood. So I was going to get good grades. I didn't give a fuck. But I could see the other kids. They was like struggling and shit to pay attention. They was talking all the time. And the kids was reading at like a third grade level. I hated when we had to read out loud. And I would feel so embarrassed for them kids. Because we would go around the room and they would be like all of 14 years old, just stumbling over easy words in English class when we were reading paragraphs. And I'm just like, this is our school system that doesn't care about little black children and the help that they need. God bless us all. Yes. And it's gotten even worse since the pandemic. Apparently, like, reading levels and math levels and all sorts of shit have gone down. So now we're going to be sending children out into the world that if they don't latch on to something that will help them learn how to deal with the world and understand things better, it's just going to be a bunch of people out there that are ignorant and not as smart as they need to be. And also because you get traumatized by school, it's like, will they even be encouraged to learn things for themselves later on? It's just a whole bunch of shit. I'm tired. So I can see where, Stephanie, is her name Stephanie on the show? It's Stephanie right now. I don't care. Oh, I already looked once, so I forgot her name in a sec. I don't care. And so I could see where she's coming from, why she's so upset. This shit is horrible. So I'm waiting for her to have a meltdown because all the kids in her class, but she's a tough cookie, so who knows? She may be able to handle it on the surface. But I hope everybody in this show gets therapy. Everyone needs therapy. All the teachers especially, you need therapy. You need to be talking to somebody about the problems of the daily life, because working with the district, the school, and these kids, I have a therapist and I'm a therapist, so you should have a therapist too. It's magical. Anyways, who else? Jacob is over here. I felt in my soul the way they kept cutting him off every time he said he knew sign language. I was just like, so does he really know sign language? Is he pretending to know sign? Because he went to Peru and he's so white. He was just like, oh yeah, because he found out about Janine's eviction, and he just goes, oh yeah, because I was evicted in Lima, and so I know how important evictions are. And I'm just like, girl, no, but you got to come home to a home where your man is, and I bet this man has never struggled in his life. Not a day in his fucking life. I don't care. And I will let the rest of the season prove me right or wrong. But just the way he keep coming off, I just feel like, but he's trying. So he's not one of those ones that will refuse to learn. So he listens, like last season when he was trying to whitewash the whole Philly riot situation and stuff. And then Stephanie had to be like, man, you need to respect these kids' history and teach them correctly. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you think it's too violent. This is what they grew up in. That's what they go home to. Like, you need to respect them. She didn't say it like that, but I don't care. And he was just like, oh yeah. It's just like, you need to be told. Okay. He needs to be told, but he will listen once he's told. So I can't fault him too much. He be saying some shit to let you know that he's privileged, but we gonna give it to Jacob. We just gonna give it to him because he's trying. He's trying. He listens. So you get a point for listening and correcting things. There you go. Who else? Ava. Ava Ash just a round the way girl. Sometimes I just be wondering, like, do she even like this job? Like, why? The way she be, I just be like, she started this shit at 8:30 in the morning, had a tailgate at the school for the teachers for the game, and had the meeting at 9. And I'm just like, does she actually want to do like if she, because her attitude sometimes be saying that she don't really care about this shit, but then it's like she do stuff like that. Like, I don't know many people that get up and get to a place of business by 8:30 in the morning. Probably earlier than that if they don't like care a little bit. So I'm just like, I just be looking at her like she got the attitude of a slacker, like the way she talk, what she talk about, but like when it comes down to it, like she will pull shit together. And that's why I like her, because she represents all the hood girls that get made fun of like they can't do nothing. And it's like people learn in different ways, and that's why I said earlier, like, if them kids that are behind, there's ways to learn and hustle in this world. So even if you can't get it through school, as long as it's legal and you can make some money off of it, there's ways to hustle. Technology's out here. You can start an OnlyFans and be teaching people how to fix cars and shit. Like, you don't have to be just getting naked on OnlyFans. People be on OnlyFans teaching people shit. They get a following. You can be on YouTube and shit. So technology has changed the world. So I'm not too put out by the kids not learning how they're supposed to be learning, but I am kind of upset because there are important parts about history and important pieces of science and things like that I feel like people should just kind of know the basics of. Like, we should all know about slavery and what happened to Native Americans and what happened to all the other people of color in the world that the Queen of England and her royal KKK people have done to the people in the world. Because I don't care what nobody says. They always be like, oh, well, she was just a figurehead. Bitch, I bet you that if that whole royal family wanted to veto something, they could. Because at the end of the day, they still own that country. Shut the fuck up. Never apologize for stealing people's land, still owns people's land. People have to follow their rules and regulations. Whole situation in Nigeria where a whole bunch of people died because of colonization. People of color are tired, y'all. People of color are tired, especially black folks. We tired. We fucking tired. They shoving a little mermaid and stuff. It's like, really, it's a mermaid. Like, in reality, mermaid myth comes from black culture, comes from African culture, Mama Wata, and I think I said that wrong, but just look it up. Like, it's a fucking kids show. I've been spending most of these past 2 or 3 weeks trying to find fucking paranormal black romances with 2 black characters that preferably are dark skinned. You know how hard it is to find, because I got to the end of reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. So if anybody knows about A Court of Thorns and Roses, it's on Book Talk. It's been trending. It's like everything. It's like all the fairy smut. It's magical. And I was tired of reading porcelain skin every other sentence. So after I was done with that, I said, you know what? What if there are other books like this, but with black people, and I can read about mahogany skin and ebony eyes and imagine myself in the scenes that are spicy because I want to, and you leave me the fuck alone. But no. I mean, there are some, but they're not like, I don't know. It's like, when you read an epic, like you read some shit like Harry Potter and shit. That's what A Court of Thorns and Roses is. It's like an epic type shit. And it's like, it's written in a certain way where it's just like you want more and more. And I'm just like, so I've been like going to different groups on Facebook. And this one group, this Black Fae group, gave me like a whole list of black authors. And I was just like, yes. This is it. And it was it, y'all. But the thing is, I shouldn't have to work that hard for a genre. any other genre of books, as long as they involve white people, you can find it. You can find 100 million. I'm just, So you know what? My mermaid is black. My princess is black. My prince is black. And I'm not fucking with anything else that's not black at this point because it's irritating me. Because it's not equal. I'm tired. So you know what? A bitch just be tired. A bitch just be tired. And I just don't have it in me. So you know what? I like Ava because she represents them hood girls that be in the office, grew up in the hood, still got the round the way girl swag, but gets shit done. You know, she a bitch, she an asshole. Like Janine, she didn't have to film Janine going through a tragic meltdown as her boot was being placed on the car. She didn't have to do that. And I'm surprised Stephanie doesn't have somebody to take a boot off. I feel like that's some bullshit. You're bullshitting, Stephanie. You're bullshitting because every nigga in the hood knows somebody that'll take a boot off. Okay, so your ass that know everybody in Philadelphia, you know how to take. You know somebody that'll take a boot off. Don't play, girl. Stephanie bullshitting. And so, yeah, she didn't have to do that. She's an asshole. And I don't like that she's an asshole. Cause she funny. And she just like, she reminded me of when I was a kid. Like all the roundaway girls and the hood girls and stuff. And it was like, they just fun people. Like, I don't necessarily call myself that because I was too nerdy. I was sitting in corners reading books and shit. But they have fun, and it's just like I don't want to not like Ava. I just feel like Ava one of them friends that be talking shit all the time, but she a decent person. I don't think she malicious. I just think she one of them people that just be talking shit all the time. So I'm gonna leave it there with Ava. I don't care. Okay, y'all can feel like she's a mean and she has anger issues. And all. She ain't even angry about it. I'll never see her angry. She's not angry. She just, she just be talking shit. It's funny. It's funny to her. And she's selfish. Okay, so she's selfish. I will say that. She is selfish. She only cares about herself up to a certain point. When it's important, she will step out like she did last year for the kids and making sure that they got that money. If she's pushed up against the wall and she sees that people need it, she will step the fuck out. There you go. So she ain't that selfish. Yes, squat. So anyways, what else? Then there's Gregory. So he's the last one. I felt the spectrum, the autism come out in this episode. Gregory is just this highly structured individual, and if it doesn't make sense to him, he doesn't get it. So like the little grimace, gritty, whatever, the mascot. We start off with Gregory just being like, I don't understand why everybody likes this dude. Like he's just, like my dad has a landscaping business and our mascot is a bush. That makes sense. What is this? And everybody's looking at him like, so it's kind of like if you don't understand something or why people like it, then you just don't get it as a person on the spectrum until someone explains it to you. Or like what happened at the end, Gritty was just being funny, and then Gregory was just like, oh, okay, so he's just funny and weird and shit, and people like that. Yeah, and that was it. Like basically, like he was just funny and weird and people like that shit. And maybe he looked like a big old grizzly bear, or big old, what is it, well, them gay niggas that are bears look like one of them, like lumberjack niggas and some shit. That's why I was guessing that's why they called him Gritty. Some big old hairy motherfucker with a what is the thing? What is it? An axe about to cut down the tree or some shit. I don't fucking know. But like people just be making shit up in their head and they like it. And like sometimes that's hard for people on the spectrum to get. I'm not 100% saying he's on the spectrum, but that damn classroom that he organized to the T, like these little kids are robots. And they're going to follow this whole schedule. And I have it all written down to the T by every minute of every day for the rest of the school year. And we're all going to figure it out. And I'm just like, Gregory, kids don't work like that. And that's what Barbara did. She had to sit him down and let him know, like, we just here coming to school, like, just doing our best. Like, you don't have to have everything in perfect order. And I think that fucks with him. Because if it's not structured in a way that makes them feel comfortable, if life isn't structured in a way that makes them feel comfortable, it's hard for them to deal with that. Like, you saw how he had a little mini meltdown when, like, Janine had all them issues happen to her. And then he realized that because he was outside with them, that he was off on his whole little schedule thing he was making up for the kids. And then he was just like, everything is going to shit. And it's just like, Barbara was like, well, that's just life, honey. Like, shit's gonna go to shit sometimes. You can't, nobody's perfect. We're all just human beings. And he had to have that explained to him. And that's what I tell folks, like, about some folks on the spectrum, is that, like, because some people get the mistake that they don't have emotions. They have a lot of fucking emotions, just like everybody else. It's just that a lot of them, what happens is that they get caught up in their own life story, that it's hard to comprehend how someone else may feel because you're so caught up in your own life story until somebody tells you. Like, so what I usually do is I'll give an example of, like, so if Johnny sees that Mark is over here and has his pen, Johnny has a pen that looks like his, Johnny's thought is going to be, that's my pen. Why does he have it? I'm going to snatch it and get it and then go back to my desk. And so he gets up, snatches his pen, gets it. Mark is over here flipping the fuck out. Like, why'd you take my pen? What's wrong with you? Johnny's like, this is my pen. What are you talking about? Mark is like, no, it's not. And then Johnny has to be explained to that you need to ask first, you know, how would you like it if someone came and snatched your pen off your desk just because it kind of looked like theirs, you know? And usually when I explain it in that way to, like, kids and adults that are on the spectrum, they get it more easily, like, because they would be pissed off. They would be pissed off if someone else did that, but it's hard for them to comprehend that someone else would be pissed off if they did that until it's explained to them. And then they get it and they're like, oh, I didn't mean to make him feel the things and the stuff. And it's not everybody on the spectrum, but it's mainly leaning towards those that, like, have difficulty with social cues and understanding that other people have similar emotions to them and stuff like that. But they get it when you explain it. So they have emotions, they have feelings. It's just they're so caught up in their own worlds and things. Sometimes people mistake being autistic for sociopathy. Now, you can be a sociopath and have autism, but all autism does is whatever you're fixated on just becomes more fixy. You just extra fixy on it. So if, like, you're fixated on the idea that women don't like me and I'm a horrible person, then you're going to be fixated, and that your whole world is going to become that idea, and it's going to be hard to function in other areas of your life and then the next thought is, I'm going to kill all the women or some stupid shit like that. I just watched the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, so I'm just like, please excuse. So, you know, it's shit like that. Like, you can have comorbidity. So you can have, like, two things at once, two mental health issues at once. You can have a developmental issue and a mental health issue at once. Like, I know a lot of people that are on the spectrum and they have ADHD at the same time. But no, like, you can be on the spectrum, but it doesn't influence, like, just because you're on the spectrum, that doesn't mean that you're going to be a sociopath. So, you know, because it just isn't. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if somebody is a sociopath who happens to be on the spectrum, they're just extra fixated on shit, on the things that they want to do to, like, be criminals or some shit. But, like, since they don't have the capacity for empathy, if people tell them, they also don't care how other people feel, you know, at the same time. Like, I don't care how you feel. So that's the sociopathy part. That's not the autism part, because the autistic folks that aren't sociopaths, if you tell them, usually the empathy kicks in and they're like, oh, I've had so many, like, especially kids, when you tell them, like, you know, if someone did that to you, you'd be pissed off. They'll just be like, oh, and then they start thinking back to all the different times, and then they feel embarrassed and shit. I just be like, it's okay though. Like, you cool now. Like, you got friends, people like you. Them moments were in the past. Now you just have to move forward and remember that, you know, So Gregory's not understanding that these children are not robots. So what would whatchamacallit would Brent would what's her name? Barbara has to do is explain it to him in a way that he can understand. So she breaks it down. So what if a kid gets a cold? What if 3 kids miss school? What if, you can't plan a perfect schedule around the child with the belief that the children are going to adhere to this schedule perfectly. And then he's just like, oh, yeah, you saw that. Oh, and he was just like, that nigga on the spectrum. Yes, he is. I want to see a whole spectrum love story on this show where they end up together and he ends up happy, but like Janine ain't ready for him. He's too nice. He's too nice and kind and probably wants to like help her with things. She can't even help her fucking self right. She doesn't even know how to help herself right now. She's not there yet, but I'm gonna need Gregory to just chill on, Taylor or whatever this girl's name is, because he doesn't need her. He doesn't need Taylor. That's probably why his face was like that when Janine asked him how him and Taylor was. He probably did some shit that was like spectrum-y or some shit, and she thought he was weird, and she stopped talking to him. I want to see a whole thing about him falling in love. It's magical because you don't get to see that really. There's that reality TV show on Netflix with the people that are on the spectrum and they're in love, but like on television and the media just in general, like you don't get to see that shit. So like you can kind of surmise like from certain characters' behaviors that maybe they might be this, that, and the other just because of the certain behaviors they have, but like you don't never be knowing. So like I hope he is, because it will be different and it'll be nice to see. And yeah, so with Gregory, like I said, whatchamacallit, Barbara was able to talk him down, and then he went downstairs and got a desk, and he realized that as long as you do your best, the things that you do accomplish matter. And that was beautiful because it let him know that he can make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Even though the structure feels comfortable, you can make mistakes and stuff. And what it also could be is that he has anxiety. It's just be his facial expressions though, and just the way he be talking and the sensory stuff. I just feel like, he could have anxiety and be on the spectrum. Because but like I would understand if he was on the spectrum and he had a breakdown though, if his classroom wasn't the way he wanted it to be, all extra structured and shit like that though. Like, wouldn't that just cause anxiety? See, I don't know now, but I think he's on the spectrum. I think so. And it's magical, wonderful. So yeah, that was the first episode of season 2 of Abbott Elementary. Let me know what y'all thought. It was good. I liked it. I feel like Kenza Brunson makes like really relatable characters. These people are just in school, just like Barbara's she's the boss. So I think she's the boss. She's the boss. Like everyone goes to her for advice. Everybody wants to, they want answers from her and things like that. And she always gives the answers. Like she always just knows what people need. She's like the school mother or some shit. Even Ava, like she got to go to Barbara for advice because Ava don't know what the fuck she doing sometimes. Like she'll show up and she'll try, but she don't be knowing what the fuck she doing. I'd be like, Ava girl, you need to ask for help. You need to get help with this. And she'll, Ava get help. She'll figure it out. She'll have everybody else do it. And while she's sitting in the office sleep, and that's that's a thing. It's not right, but it's okay. And so, I'm excited for this season. I want to see what happens next. What do y'all think? Like, do you think Janine will figure it out and work through her stuff? Or you think she's going to keep having hangups with this people pleasing shit? Do you think Gregory will be able to be chill this semester without as much structure? Class is going to be crazy probably. Is he going to be able to just sit chill and just be like, okay, I can do this, and be okay with himself making mistakes? Are things not going along with the structure he needs? Or maybe he might have to eat some weird food that he don't want to eat, but for the children, he will suffer. So, will Barbara feel more at home in the school, or will she quit by the end of the school year? I hope not. I want to see her keep going on. Like, why would you quit? Why would she? She just won an Emmy. Like, I don't know. Maybe she'll be ready to retire if she does quit the show. I don't fucking know. But I don't want her to. So, will Stephanie blow up at these fucking kids because there's probably 40 kids in her class right now? And Jacob, Jacob's just there. He gives a good advice. He's, Janine's friend. He's like the magical white guy. Look at that. They created a magical white guy character because literally all he does is give Janine advice. I am not upset about that. I am not upset about that at all. As many magical Negroes has been in these fucking movies and shows. I am not upset that he gives advice occasionally. I am not upset if the white characters don't get any deep background, plots developed for them. But, at the same time, we want to be equal. So that probably would look kind of weird if over time we got these two. But they do that to us. They do that to us. The black person will be in a show for, for 5 seasons. We still don't know who he is, who they are, where they came from, how they feel. They just dare to help the white people and to mark up the diversity quota and shit like that. You know what? I don't think I would be mad if these two white folks didn't get these deep background, discussions and stuff. Like literally, I feel like Stephanie is Barbara's magical white girl. Cause Stephanie, like, she be like, they be showing her here and there. She be getting an attitude here and there. But most of the time when she's doing something that's deep or she talks about something deep or important, it's, she's talking to Barbara about some shit. You know what I mean? So, they see calling her work wife and stuff, but I think she's her magical white girl. And, Jacob is Janine's magical white guy. And I love that for them. Yes. I love this show. Magical, yes. To the magical white girl and magical white guy. I hope to see more of you. So anyways, let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy this fantabulousness and later days.